Happy Wednesday, everyone. You have all been asking for it, and so I'm going to give it to you. Today, we are going to be sharing with you the podcast I did with Tiffany Moon, the legendary Tiffany Moon. She's a doctor. She's an anesthesiologist. She was on Real Housewives of Dallas. She's a mom, a wife. She's an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, just like me. And we had an amazing time doing the podcast Unhinged together last week. So today we are going to be sharing that podcast with you. So many of you have asked for it. So I've decided I'm going to go ahead and share it with you. You will be watching the visual podcast, and the audio podcast has been uploaded to Shopify, so you can find it there also. But I hope today you enjoy the visual podcast we did here on YouTube, and enjoy it. It's fun. We go deep. We share a lot, and I can't wait to hear your feedback.
Welcome to Unhinged with your host, Teresa Romer, motivational speaker, fashion expert, and fashion guru.
Welcome to Unhinged with Teresa Romer. You know, like we like to get down and dirty, deep, and go places where most people don't want to go. But here on Unhinged, we do it. We do it. And the listeners love it. And today we have my amazing friend and guest, Tiffany Moon.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. So if you're not familiar with Tiffany Moon, she was on The Real Housewives of Dallas.
Yes.
For all the seasons or just a few of the seasons?
Just season 5.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And now it's not on the air anymore.
It is not.
What happened?
It sort of imploded. There's real fighting, there's fake fighting, and then there's fighting that bleeds into your actual personal life.
Yes.
Which is, what I call below the belt fighting.
Right.
And it just got so ugly and so dark that I said, I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
So the show's not even on anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
And then I don't know what happened after that. I didn't know when I said that I didn't want to be on it anymore that they were going to do that.
Right.
And then they were like, well, we're just not going to have it back. We're going to rest it for a while.
Right.
They said, don't use the word canceled. Just say that it's on a hiatus. So whenever anyone asks me, like, did your show get canceled? And I'm like, well, it wasn't my show. But yeah. I'm like, Real Housewives is on a hiatus.
Right.
That's my official answer.
So quite interesting, as we were sitting here visiting today, we've known each other through social media.
Correct.
For a few years. But today was the first time we actually got to see eye to eye.
In real life.
In real life.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny how you feel like you're friends with someone and yet you've never met them before?
Yeah, because I hear you, I watch you, you unbox something, you talk about, the hurricane. And so I feel like I'm a part of your life.
Right.
And it's like, wait, I've never actually even met her before.
And then we also are kind of connected because back in the day when they were filming the pilot for Real Housewives of Dallas, I was actually on the cast for Real Housewives of Houston, and Dallas got picked over Houston because Houston refused to fight the way they wanted us to fight.
They do want you to fight.
But this was kind of racially fighting, like blacks against whites. And a lot of the girls that were on the cast with us that were black were our actual friends. Yeah. And we're like, no, we're not doing that to our friends. And besides, anybody that's going to ever watch this is going to go, this has got to be fake because we know these girls like each other in real life. And then Dallas got chosen.
Well, I wasn't involved in that time, because I didn't come on until like 2020.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, during COVID.
Yeah, of course. The little, leap of faith I decided to take. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this fun thing. I've been a good girl all my life. That was like my act of rebellion, joining a reality TV show.
Right.
And then, we didn't get a cast trip. Half my cast was terrible and mean to me. And then it imploded. So I was like, well, there went that.
And did you have to do COVID tests and everything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We were swabbed. The entire cast and crew were taking COVID tests every week I'm like, just go ahead. I don't know your name, but go ahead and stick it up my nose. Like, it was such a routine thing.
Yeah.
And then for reunion, when they flew us to New York City to sit with Andy on stage,
right,
like 2 of my cast members tested positive for COVID after landing in New York City.
Oh, no.
So they had to like Zoom into reunion. And I was like, if that wasn't the nail in the coffin, I don't know what is. And I was like, this is God telling us, like, this show is not meant to be.
Right.
And then I had a nosebleed. Like, the very 5 last minutes of reunion, my nose, like a little trickle, I think a blood vessel in my brain just popped and was like the amount of stupidity I had to deal with at reunion. And it just, this little trickle of blood came out of my nose. And I was like, that's it.
That was the final. That's the final. Yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't have gotten any better sign.
Yeah. I was like, okay, God, I hear you. I'm done.
Other than that, you just had a blast with it, right?
Yeah, it was so much fun being pitted to fight against women. And I mean, there's one thing to have a little drama for the show because, again, it is television and no one wants to sit here, you know, watching you have tea or whatever. So I get that there's a dramatic element. But when that bleeds into my personal life and you're trying to take down my career as a medical doctor, which I've worked my entire life, and then you get your family members in on it, no, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm not playing that anymore.
No. And why is it that violence sells? Like, why is it people want to see people in trouble or fight or go down? You know, it's like nobody wants to see you do good.
I love watching other women do good when businesses are thriving and their families are nice. But I think going back to your question, people like to see, you know, it's like rubbernecking on the freeway when you see a car accident. Like it's a hot mess. And
and you want to see it.
You want to see it. You want to see what happens. And in some way, it makes you feel better about the trials and tribulations that may be going on in your personal life. And be like, well, look, at least my husband's not cheating on me and da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
Like, it makes you feel a little bit better about your life when you see how bad other people's are. And the Real Housewives franchise, like, look, it wasn't ever meant to be this like aspirational show that empowers and encourages women. The premise was sort of like you have these women that catfight and stuff, but I thought it was like light, fluffy fighting. I didn't realize it was like serious to the bone fighting.
Pulling hair.
Right. Pulling hair, flipping tables.
So why do you think it is that I mean, first of all, that's what Real Housewives is known for, is the fighting. But why do you think it is that the Kardashians don't have to have that kind of fighting? They might have a dispute, but at the end of that episode, they usually make up.
Correct. Because at the end of the day, they're still family. Also, I'm pretty sure that Chris or one of them has an EP, you know, executive producer credit. And so they have some creative direction. Whereas with Housewives, none of the housewives, and it's written into our contract that you don't get a say.
You don't have any say-so.
And you don't have a say in what they film. Like, if you say something and I rolled my eyes 4 days ago, but they got a shot of it and they insert me rolling my eyes, they can kind of put it together to make it look like I rolled my eyes at you. But I'm like, that wasn't even temporally related, you know?
That wasn't even on the same day.
They have a little bit of creative liberty to splice things how they want. But whenever housewives are like, oh, I didn't know I was being filmed, I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. You're mic'd and there's a big light and a cameraman on your face. Like, you knew you were being filmed. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. No. Don't try to excuse your bad behavior by saying that you didn't know.
And I've had my fair share. I mean, I was on Married to Medicine, Houston. We've filmed Win and Romer. I've been married to oil. I've been my fair share of filming, and they'll keep you mic'd while you go to the bathroom.
I know. I'm like, I just let out a huge fart. I hope they didn't get that.
I hope you did. That serves you right. But yeah, so I had some friends a long time ago. They were on Below Deck.
Oh yeah.
And they were appalled at what they were told they had to do while they were on there.
Deck?
And I'm like, and so then they get home and it airs and then they get all mad and I'm like, but you knew you were drinking.
Yeah.
You knew this was going to happen. Don't act so surprised now. Don't come home and go, oh, I can't believe they filmed that or used that. Or I'm like,
yeah, you signed off, bud.
When you sign that and that's why I try to tell people, you need to make sure you have a good lawyer that's reading that contract.
Yes.
Because I've had lawyers change things.
Yeah.
If you want her, this has to change because we're not going to, you know.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because back in the day when I was doing Win and Romer and all those, even Real Housewives of Houston, they were like, oh, we're going to get a percentage of your candle sales and percentage of your clothing sales. And I'm like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
No.
That's like now what's commonly referred to as the Bethany Clause, because it didn't used to exist. And then Bethany Frankel, because of Skinny Girl and all the millions of dollars that she made. But really, a lot of that success was due to her being on Real Housewives of New York, because she was showing it and promoting it and stuff. So when they tried to take a percentage of my businesses, I was like, hell no. And they were like, well, then you can't use Housewives to promote your businesses. And I was like, I don't need Housewives to promote my businesses. My businesses are doing just fine. I had an identity before, you guys, but I think some people kind of don't, and they do need the show to sell their pink dog food or what have you, you know, and I'm like, I don't need it. So I had my businesses taken out of the contract, saying you're not going to get a percentage of Aromasthesia or Three Moons Wine, but also then I was not allowed to talk about those entities during filming, and I was like, fine, fine,
no big deal, I'm okay with that. And that's why I said I had a following on social media. I had identity. I had worked my ass off to have all of that. You're not getting a percentage of that. Yeah. Not for a minute. So before that, you had a life before Real Housewives of Dallas.
Yes, and I still do.
But you were a doctor and still are a doctor.
Yes, correct. I'm a board certified anesthesiologist. Fun fact, I was 23 years old when I graduated from medical school at the top of my class. So
23?
I'm a nerd.
Lord.
Big nerd.
I guess.
Yes.
Most people are still in their first 4 years of college up until about 22.
Right. Yeah. No, my stepkids are about to turn 21 and they just finished sophomore year. So correct.
Right.
Yeah. No, I nerd, loved to read, loved to learn, was good at test taking, like all the things, you know, not your typical housewife.
Right.
But then I wanted to show people that you can be a good doctor and a good mom and still have a personality and a sense of humor and love fashion and beauty and skincare. And that doesn't diminish your standing as a professional working woman.
Right.
But sometimes society wants to pit you. It's like you have to pick one or the other. And I'm like, I will not.
Right.
You will not box me in. And I will show America that you can be both.
Right. So I think it's fantastic that you're a nerd by nature, but you wanted to be part of a reality show, and you love fashion and probably traveling. I mean, like, you encompass it all.
Yeah, I'm also crazy and like work 14-hour days and you know, but there's so many young people these days that don't want to work hard and think that they're gonna post a couple of videos on YouTube or TikTok and become a famous influencer. And I'm like, do you know how hard influencers work? Like, filming videos, editing them, posting them consistently, engaging with your audience. Like, it's not just this floozy thing or like a thing of lightning struck and now all of a sudden you're viral. Like, it is like anything else at the end of the day, a job. And I know that you know that because you consistently work on your social media, and it's a job.
Well, and people are like, so how long have you been doing social media? Like, you know, a couple of years. And I'm like, I am an OG.
Right.
I've literally been doing social media since around 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
When I was Mrs. Texas.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's a long time.
Yeah, you're like, let me teach you something.
Yeah. And they're and then, you know, just like with this hurricane this past week, you know, I know that I have to post Monday, Wednesday, Fridays on my YouTube channel. I've got to do this. You know, I have a schedule, and I've been very consistent for so many years. And like on this past week with a hurricane and no internet and no power, I mean, like, I was hell bent on driving wherever I had to drive to be able to upload videos, to be able to have internet. And people were like, wow. And I'm like, it's perseverance, it's consistency, it's dedication. It's like with anything. It's like, you know, going through medical school.
Yeah.
You know, look how fast you did it. You know, it took a lot of hard work.
Yeah. For sure. That's what I want the young people to realize, that whether it's social media or you want to go into finance or law or medicine, like, I don't know what your passion is, but you must have the dedication and the perseverance. And when life knocks you back on your ass, which it will, you got to get back up. Because the kids these days are sort of like, oh, I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
Or that was hard. And, yeah. And I'm get up, keep going.
It was way harder than I wanted it to be or thought it would be.
everything is always harder than I thought it would be.
Everything.
That's because you look at the people, like, look at all the, Olympians that are about to compete in Paris. Like, oh, it looks so easy. Yeah, it looks so easy because they've been training like 16 hours a day, working their ass off with a coach, like training for that moment when they might get it.
Just one, I was watching the other day for the trials and everything. I was watching the gymnastics, and they were like, these girls train from, I think they said 7 to 11 in the morning. Then they're homeschooled at the facility from 11 till like 4. And then they practice again from 4 until 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it takes.
Like, do you know how much practice that is? Like, and just to be able to make the team.
Right. Yeah.
To get to go to the Olympics.
Just for the opportunity to be there.
Yeah.
And I always say there's 100 people, baby, who would die to be in your spot right now.
Yeah.
So quit complaining, get your big girl panties on, and let's go.
So, but everybody thinks that they can just do one little post and it's going to go viral and they're going to be famous overnight. And it's like, doesn't
usually work that way.
That's like a 100 million to 1 chance that that's going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're married.
Yes.
And you have children.
Yes.
Children of your own and stepchildren, it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay.
My twin girls are 9, about to be 10. And then I have twin stepchildren who are also twins that are 20.
Wow.
I know. So my husband has 2 sets of twins.
So the twins must run on his side.
Well, not really.
Oh.
Because he and his ex-wife, they did in vitro, and they put in 2.
Okay.
So then you usually get 2.
Right.
And then I had a miscarriage before my girls, and then when I got pregnant, I just got spontaneous twins. And so my best friend, when I called her to tell her that I called my husband and then I called my best friend, and she was like, "Oh my God, Tiff, like you're just an overachiever. Like even your ovaries are overachievers." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's so funny." Yeah. So that's a chapter of my book.
Yeah.
Even my ovaries are overachievers.
So just like being a parent.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Being a parent,
dedication.
I have to tell you, I've done a lot of hard things in my life, and I will tell you, being a parent is probably the hardest.
Of course.
On any given day, I just don't know what to do sometimes. Like, am I doing the right thing for my kids? Because I grew up poor as an immigrant. I learned English when I was 6 years old.
Were you an only child?
For 11 years I was, until my brother was born when I was 11. And I used to always ask my mom and dad for a younger sibling. Then at 11, my mom's like, "You're going to have a little brother."
You're
and
like,
I'm like, I don't want one now. I wanted a little sister when I was like 7, 8,
4 or 5.
Yeah, but like a little brother. I basically was like a second mom to him.
Of course, at
You know
11,
what I mean?
sure.
Like I'd feed him, and then when he was like 5, 6, and I got my driver's license.
She knew what she was doing. She knew she had a built-in babysitter.
I know.
See?
I'd have to baby, and then I started driving, and I'd have to like take him around. Yeah.
So yeah, your mom was a smart woman. She knew she was getting built-in babysitter.
Yep. My
built-in
mom
cab
knows.
driver.
Yes. The built-in tutor.
Yeah.
I had to like tutor my little brother.
And yet you still were able to. So did you finish high school?
I finished high school early.
Early too.
Yeah. So I was 19 when I graduated from Cornell. Went straight into med school.
You are an
I was
overachiever.
23. And then went to residency at UCSF. So when I became an attending, I was 28 years old, and half the residents were younger than me.
Of course,
older than me.
Yeah,
older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And my husband is 11 years older than me, because I can't hang out with people my own age,
Me
because
neither.
in school I was always so
Yeah.
advanced, and
Yeah.
then the boys my own age,
Yeah.
they were so immature, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't. Like, I cannot with these guys that are still trying to figure themselves out,
Right.
and like can't clean up. Like, I don't want to be your mom,
no.
And so then I always dated older. So my boyfriend before my husband was 8 years older, and the one before that was 4. So I just kept going older and
Older, yeah.
So yeah, if this one hadn't worked, I would have gone like 20 years older.
Well, my husband's 14 years older than me too, so I understand, completely understand. So we've got the blended family.
Yes.
Being a parent is hard. We all know that, and that's a job that you have till you die, because even once they get older,
Oh yeah,
they still need you
of course.
emotionally, sometimes financially, whatever. You're still worried about them.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. My daughter's 35, and she going to go out with a guy? And I'm like, okay, is he a stalker?
Oh, I would be.
Is he going to kill her?
What did you say?
Where are you
was,
going?
honey? I'd be Googling. Yeah.
So yeah, but that's a job. I don't care how much older they get.
You're always a mom.
It's a hard job. So yeah, I'm like saying to some of these younger kids, like, if you can't handle the hard work that you've got to do to be an influencer. And, it got really bad during COVID because everybody was out of work.
Right.
So everybody was going to be an influencer.
Right. I remember.
Everybody started YouTube channels. And I'm like, good luck.
Yeah. And now they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
They couldn't
I'm
stick
like,
with
it couldn't hang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have the blended family. You've got your career. Husband's got his career. You probably do some stuff together. Because you just did open a new hotel in Dallas.
Correct. It's exactly a year to this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to invite you sometime.
The JW Marriott, right?
Yeah, I think you'd like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very modern, contemporary.
Yes. It's more of a business hotel, not as much of like a resort vacation type.
Right.
But like I'm having my conference there in November.
I heard about it.
Yeah, you have to try to come if you can. I know it's right
come.
after Fashion Week and you'll be busy, but...
Well, no, after Fashion Woodland stops, we're exhausted, but I can go somewhere.
You can come, rest. Yeah, zone out.
I'm like, it's like planning for the wedding,
No, I know.
As soon as the wedding's over, you're done.
You're
it's like, so it's like after Fashion Woodlands, we're exhausted, but I'm like, get me out of here.
Yeah, come to Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you feel like people, when they hear of you or meet you, only know you from Real Housewives, or do you think they really know you from your real job and your real identity?
It's divided. Like I'll meet someone at a restaurant or I'll get someone at the airport that's like, are you Tiffany Moon? And I'm like, yes. Sometimes they'll know me from anesthesia and medicine. Sometimes they'll be like, I saw you on Real Housewives, like you were my favorite. And then sometimes it's like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, social media stuff.
Yeah.
So I would say like those three things, but I think it's good to be a little diversified, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been on vacation in Antigua, working out in a gym, and people are like, aren't you the lady with the largest closet in the world? And I'm like, oh my God, I look like hell. I'm in Antigua.
That's amazing.
So it'll happen overseas. I could be in Europe, and be in the airport, and somebody will recognize me. And so it's kind of weird that I became famous from the world's largest closet.
Right.
And I laugh because I'm like, well, at least I didn't have to do a sex tape like Kim Kardashian.
At least that's not what you're famous for. Yeah.
But what's weird is that they still label me with that. It's like, I'm more than just that.
Correct. Yeah.
But that's what put me on the charts, I guess.
And you know what? It's okay. Like, that's how they learned of you, if that was their entryway into the world that is Teresa Romer, then fine. But they have that first association.
Right.
Because sometimes people still label me as a housewife. And I'm like, I just did that for one season.
Yeah.
And do you know I have this entire medical career and teach medical students and residents and run clinical trials?
Yeah.
But they're like, they know me as a housewife.
That's all they know you.
But you know what? I'm not upset about it.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be known.
Yeah.
And that people like me enough to stop me in public and ask for a selfie. I'm honored.
Right.
So I never complain about that kind of stuff.
Right. But hopefully that platform you used helps in many other areas of your life. Like, I'm huge with philanthropy.
Yes.
Just like when we do Fashion Woodlands here, it benefits the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And so, I try to use my platform of people knowing me to help raise more monies. And when I did have the world's largest closet, it was labeled the closet that continually gives back.
Oh, I
because
love that.
if I had a event in the closet, because that's why I built the closet as big as I did, was because every time people came to my house, they always wanted to see my closets because I always had pretty closets. And I was like, when I did that house, I was like, why not build a closet so big I can actually hold the events in the closet, because that's where the women want to be anyways.
Correct.
And so then we'd raise monies while we were in the closet to always give back to charities. And
that's amazing.
I try to use that platform or that fame for the philanthropy side of it.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, since I've got your attention,
Yeah.
will you lend it? I'm co-chairing something called the Partners Card with the Family Place, which is the largest domestic violence organization in Texas.
Beautiful.
And I also help a group called Ascend that helps women in the community. They help send prenatal care for the women who are pregnant.
That's so good.
And then they have a financial program to help women recover their credit scores and do practice job interviews, that sort of thing.
Right.
And so
Right.
a lot of the causes that I'm passionate about are giving back to the community, but women specifically.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's so good. So where can everybody find you if they want to find you? You're on Instagram.
Yes, I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Tiffany Moon MD. My website is Tiffany Moon MD. And if they want to find out more about the summit that's going to be in Dallas from November 8th through 10th, it's leadhersummit.com.
Okay, and we're going to put all that information out there so you can find it. And if you want some of these beautiful candles that I'm holding, they can find that.
Aromasthesia. Yes, aromasthesia. I thought I was trying to be cute to combine the word aromatherapy and anesthesia.
Right.
And I'm always trying to be funny. And so I'm like, my candles smell so good, they'll knock you out. And I'm like, aromasthesia.
So those of you that out there in listening land, you can't see how beautiful the box is either, but or smell them. But take my word, they're amazing. But what was the website again for those?
It's aromasthesia.com.
Okay.
And we give a portion of all candle proceeds from the first day I sold a candle back to local charities.
Good. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of our busy day that we've had here today for doing the podcast with me. I so appreciate it, and hopefully we'll be doing more together.
I feel like T squared is going to be a thing.
There you go.
Watch out. We're coming for you.
So until next time, once again, you're listening to Teresa Romer, Unhinged. I hope you enjoyed that podcast interview. It was very fun interviewing her. And that particular day, we also did a photo shoot for Amari Magazine Texas, which we will be holding the launch party for that magazine cover on September 14th. So hopefully you will be able to attend that also. So, thank you once again for watching the podcast interview. And I can't wait for you to see what's coming up on Friday, because it is Fashion Friday, and I have something extremely special to share with you. So until Friday, bye-bye.